Hello everyone, welcome to Whack Comics. I'm here with my co-host, as always, Tyler. How you going, man?
Oh my gosh, yes!
This is amazing. I just want everyone to know this wouldn't happen on anyone else's stream.
No, it would
Get
not.
this
Oh
shit.
my god, it would be frowned
Only
upon by
the
most
best
people.
content over here.
Hey, we go live
Oh, wow.
and earthquakes happen.
No, you're not.
Oh shit.
Oh, well, it's about that time of the show, right?
Oh, it must be. Hey, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm always ready.
Hello, everyone. This is Whack. This is Whack Comics. I'm here with Lee as always.
Hello.
How you doing, Lee?
I'm doing pretty good. How you going?
And we're here with a special guest, Chris Hicks, the writer of. Oh, there goes Lee, the writer of Dark Hero Comics. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on. I apologize about not having my webcam on.
No problem, man.
It
This
doesn't
is what-
work anymore on my computer. I found that out recently. So
Oh yeah.
my Mac is dying slowly. But guys, it's great to be on with you. Lee's back. Hey, Lee.
I accidentally hit the mouse, the back button on my mouse. It was really annoying.
Hey, Thinky Theory, how you doing? So, Chris, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself or background in comics or how you got into writing comics? Just kind of everything, all at once.
All at once. This is my first comic book attempt. Well, that's not true. This is my second comic book attempt. The first one fell victim of COVID circumstances last February, and we had our artist fall on some hard times, and we lost him. And he was great. He was talented, and we had great momentum pushing forward to turn this. It was a motion comic series that I wrote that deals with death and karma as tangible entities that have to like go through life, eternity, doing their thing. And it played loosely with the Bible and the Book of Revelations, but like put a little bit more grounded humanity into it. Great artwork. We were headed really for motion comic because I just loved the aesthetic, and I had some really cool, talented voice actors that wanted to bring these characters to life. But that got shelved when we lost the artist, and I kind of made a pact, and I told them that I wouldn't do the project until the artist was ready to come back and join the fight, because I just love the artwork so much and I believe in him. So I mean, that's not out of the realm of possibilities, but that project probably have to come later down the road. But as like getting into writing this story has been meddling around since about 2014. I didn't really understand what kind of story it was. It was just a short little story about it's not like, comic book fans are aware of like, what if Superman goes bad? We've seen it in whatever iteration you want to talk about, how many times, Superman has gone rogue or whatever during, with mind control or losing Lois or whatever have you. I wanted to take a look at that kind of a superhero where that stuff doesn't really like there's no mind control that makes him bad. It necessarily doesn't like perceive himself as bad. So I wanted to kind of take that narrative and flip it on its head a little bit and kind of get into the humanity of what it might be like to actually be a superpowered individual. And you're going through those things that all comic books know. Like, so you're a superpowered individual, you're going to go through super fights, and the tropes are going to be there. You're going to lose friends, probably your family, your parents, all that stuff, your wife, your kid, a tragedy always becomes these heroes. And I always thought like, Superman's been around so long. He's taken so much shit. Like, does it ever get to him? Does he ever have moments where he's about to save somebody and he's just like, fuck it, I just don't feel like it anymore? Like, how much dog do you have in the fight when every other issue or every other event in your life is catastrophic or world bending or world changing? And like, what does that do to your psyche? It's not your psychic ability. What does that do to your psyche? Does it damage you? Does it darken you? Does it harden you? Does it bitter you? Does it make you resentful? And then this idea popped up for this character out of that kind of nuclei, and just like a conversation with somebody, with this retired superhero. I kind of had this like back of my mind, like, I wouldn't say it's an obsession with Nick Nolte. I don't know if you guys know who Nick Nolte is, but he's oh yeah. So like that kind of like angst, but coming from a superhero, a person that once was like Superman, a Superman type character, stoic and about, truth, justice, and all that shit. But then he become over time Nick Nolte. And I thought to myself, I was like, yeah, he's just like, he's scruffy. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't have time for your bullshit. Like, what does that do to us? Like, how do you get from point A, Superman, being, at the top of his level, the world loving him and all that shit. How do you get from that to being like thrown out by society, cast out of, been retired for 20 years. The city turned its back on you. And you've been through all these life-changing events through your story. And I don't get too specific in it with the story as it unfolds. We do, but I'm telling it in the vein of like, you read comic books, so you should understand like a little bit of what, some of the things that this superhero has been through. And we say it through dialogue, but I also kind of felt like it was important to tell that kind of a story. That's a long-winded version of how it evolved from that to a script, because that's originally, I'm a screenwriter, a filmmaker. That's where my talents kind of lie and my passions. But I've always been a comic book fan since I can remember. The Marvel trading cards, I think, got me hooked. And then Batman was just it
I've
for
heard
me.
that a few times.
Yeah, I would stare at the back of those things for hours in my binder with them in the little sleeves, and I would read their superpowers, and I would know how strong these characters are. And then I read a lot of comic books based off the back of those things. Like, I didn't know I always thought there was a Silver Iron Man. I just called him Silver Iron Man. I had no idea it was War Machine. I had no idea it was Rhodey. Like, I didn't know those things until I read the back of it. I'm like, wait a second, that's not Tony Stark. So it, both DC and Marvel, those characters, just going through issue after issue after issue. And I don't think that it's ever been done like it's been done before. Like you would say with like All-Star Superman, maybe Kingdom Come, Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns is in there. It's a story that's kind of molded off of those and inspired from those stories. I love All-Star Superman. I think that's one of the best Superman stories ever. I think it needs to be kind of told, on the big screen. That would be awesome. But so it went through a lot of iterations in the beginning. Like, what is it? Like, I went deep, I went dark, I went like, can't do that. That's been done before, and I really just molded it into this story, and I really didn't know what to do with it. And then when COVID hit, I'm thinking, oh shit, I can't do anything. Like, it's really hard, even as an independent filmmaker, to get anything off the ground, let alone having to deal with COVID restrictions. And at the time, I was really working hard on my first feature film, which is a Thanksgiving Halloween like type movie.
That looks crazy, by the way.
Yeah, I showed him the pictures you sent me.
Oh, it is. It's a love story. Like, if you love those 80s slasher films, I mean, this is the outline is just pretty in your face. Like, anyway, not to get off track, but it's definitely. I'm a big John Carpenter fan. Love Halloween. I wanted to get back to the roots of just being suspense and knowing something's there, not necessarily seeing it all the time. I think that was kind of missed in all these new Halloweens and all this, these new horror films. I wanted to kind of go back to the roots. I set it in the 90s so I can get like cell phone and technology out of the way, because I want to lock them down in one place. I don't want to be able to like.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I love that idea.
So, but it's also nostalgic for me. So like,
yeah,
in the script, Home Alone's playing in the background. You got a kid on one of those Tiger game thingies, not even like a Game Boy, but those old Tiger crappy games. Yeah. So you got a lot of that going on, and it's straightforward. Sorry, not to get off. I get off on these little tangents. I'm sorry. So that got put on the back burner, and I thought, okay, what can I do? with this story. This is a story I really want to tell. And by that time I evolved it into the character known as Alpha Man, which one of our writers still doesn't like the name, but it's too late now. So I mean, at first iteration is there was this Alpha project. So he gets his name from the project that created him. Basically, it was a combination of not a super soldier serum per se, but the armed services, the branches of the military, Air Force, Army, all that. They would take the best of those people, and they were running experiments on them in Alaska, trying to find out, like, taking the best qualities of all those individuals and putting it into one person. So our hero was the only person that could withstand the test of, you know, having all those abilities. So like, you take the best sniper, you take the best fighter, you take the, you know, he was an Air Force pilot, so he didn't have any supernatural abilities, but he was just very, very good. He had great, you know, hand-eye coordination. He was analytical. He was smart. He was tactical. So he qualified for the program. So he was the only one of the servicemen that actually was, you know, could withstand becoming a super soldier. But it came with a side effect of amnesia, and then the base was destroyed. This kind of story is being told as the series unfolds. So his backstory originally comes from the Project Alpha that he was recruited into. So him becoming, and this happens in the 80s. So 1982, he's actually introduced at the World's Fair in Knoxville, Tennessee, which there actually was one. I think it was an Energy Commission's World's Fair at the time. So they debuted the Alpha Man, the world's first superhero, and that's how he becomes, you know, that's not exactly how he becomes it. I'm leaving shit out on purpose, but that's where the origin of his name comes from. But I also wanted it to as it became a comic book, I had to break the story down. I wanted to make it more like, yeah, it kind of sounds generic and crazy, but if you think about it, in the beginning of comic books, all these names sound crazy. Like, you're gonna try to tell me Ant-Man, like, that's any more crazy than Alpha Man? Like, so it just allows himself to, like, the Uberman, the Superman, the Alpha Man, kind of like keeping along. So if you read it, you're gonna go, okay, he's kind of like a Superman. I'm like, yeah, okay, he is kind of like a Superman, but I don't want to, like, cross the line, so I flirt with it. It's just so the comic book readers can kind of get an understanding of, like, okay, without going into too much detail of exactly what this kind of person is, you can kind of get it from his actions and how, you know, he's portrayed visually.
So issue number, you're good, man. So issue number 1's on IndieGoGo right now. We'll pull that up here in a minute, and we can scroll through it. Do you know how many total issues it'll be? 6 total issues. Okay. 6 total issues.
Awesome. One might be a bonus feature. If things go well, my plan is to there might be a spin-off series with one of the characters that we introduce in the comic book to have our own kind of spin-off story. I've been working on doing something like that. So she's like the Batman, the Dark Knight in my universe. Female school teacher who teaches kids by day and fights crime by night. She has to come out of retirement because of this thing that's coming. So as I broke it down to the comic book, I do a kind of like a non-linear storytelling. You're introduced to present day, and you kind of there's like a little bit of an epilogue that comes on and it tells you, like, the city, there was an event, something happened, not just to Alpha Man, but to the city, that kind of made the whole city just turn its back on him. And the world or the country kind of used the city, and the name of the city is just the city, by the way. Because it's like
San Francisco.
It's originally it was San Francisco.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Was the main city, because I'm originally from Northern California. I mean, he gets his gold and red because those are San Francisco colors. That's just something I just absolutely love. The color scheme, by the way, but that's just a little nod to him. But I didn't want to be too specific. I wanted to be generic because it is important, but it's not. What's important is the heart of the story is the sadness, the heartache, the bad things that happen to lead up to a crippled, once great hero is now fallen and outcast by the city he loves. He doesn't have anything left, and he's a drunk and he's miserable. And through his career, nobody was able to really get an interview with him. He didn't do the press, and he kind of stayed isolated. And it was for a reason. That we find out in the second issue, for his isolation and not really wanted to be in the spotlight, but he was a reluctant hero at the time, but didn't want, feared being controlled by the government. And that's kind of where it was going at first. But rewind to the event, and the government issued executive orders that gave the city and its law enforcement unlimited resources to paramilitary equipment, surveillance activity, whatever they needed to do to lock down crime in the city. And it totally worked. It became like an Orwellian type of cyberpunkish type city where, even the smallest crime is punishable by 10 plus years or death in prison. And it's all, crime is all but stopped. There's no crime. And 20 years of this goes by, and the city's slowly starting to lose, touch with its freedoms, but also with its once great hero, its superhero. They no longer need him, but come to find out, they do. Something's coming. He knows something's coming, and he's gonna tell his story before it happens. And he wants his story to be told because because circumstances that's what it's reluctant, because circumstances. So in the first issue, you get introduced to like the characters in the world, and Ryan, she's she's a reporter, as much reporting as you can possibly do in a non-crime ridden city. She wants to be something more, and she wants to get the story nobody else can get. So we open up it kind of like you've already figured out that kind of had this correspondence. She's tracked him down, and she wants to get an interview with him, and he agrees. So we open up with them in meeting, and her seeing him for the first time, and we get the ball rolling. It ends on a cliffhanger, a pretty good one, to understand just how grim the consequences are, and bringing it up into our Batman kind of a character, because it's just me, and I'm heavily influenced. Superman and Batman, my favorite superheroes. Obviously, I can't just do a story. I mean, I could just do a fan fiction, but where's the fun in that? There's no creativity in trying to get it. My whole goal is to go, oh, that reminds me of that, and like, boom, that's exactly what I want to do without throwing it in your face. So our Batman character, they have a relationship, not maybe like a physical relationship, but like a working relationship, kind of like a Batman and a Superman would have had. And there's a point in the end of the second comic where we get introduced to her. So she kind of rises. I hint at she's back with a vengeance. Star Knight is her name, and she comes back to try to convince him to help, but he's reluctant. And we've
got one person that wants to read it.
Okay, well, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
That's Jessica. That is our artist.
Maybe she's read it then.
Maybe she has. She hasn't. She's read the first issue. She hasn't read the full 6 issues. Is still being worked out. So yeah, I forgot where I was going, but that's Jessica. Yes, that's our awesome artist. It took me a while to find her, and I was so thankful when I did. She checks all the box marks for me. She's, I want to say up and coming. She's super talented, very passionate, She knows her shit. She understands where I'm going with it. What I think is the most important thing is we're on the same page, and just seeing her, like her cover art, right? You're clicking on right now. Her cover is exactly what I wanted. She came up with the actual A logo too. Originally, it was just a regular A, but she kind of chopped one of the legs off of it, made it straight on one end, and come down with the A. And I just loved it. I thought it would be too much Avengers-y, but to be honest with you, it's nothing like the Avengers A. So I really love it. So thankful to have her on board to help bring this to life, and creating characters that she's excited to bring to life. And I think that the best is yet to come when the series really picks up. I think we're going to have some really cool art.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I like all the promo images.
Yeah.
When I was talking to Lee about it,
You can see like the evolution. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. He was like, yeah, I wonder like how this will be different. So I'm really happy. Like you told us all the stuff that'll be different about this story compared to like past stories that might be similar. Makes it sound really interesting.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and that's what the hard thing is to as a creator, as an artist, as a writer, I love to be influenced and I love to be inspired, but sometimes it kind of bleeds into your work. And then I think I tell myself where the creativity lies is, okay, how do you take something that everybody knows, sort of, all comic book guys know, and make it original at the same time.
Yeah.
And for me, the only way to really do that was just to kind of be cerebral with it, but also not be shy about what I'm doing. Like, look, for me, it's easy to tell the Star Knight returns with a vengeance. That Star Knight Returns. It's just something I thought would be cool and funny, but also like in a way kind of hinting and showing you, wink, wink, what does this remind you of? This might be a character you might be interested in because she has qualities and characteristics of something that you might recognize. And that's what I really wanted to do. And I don't know if I did a really good job of it in the beginning, because I all that art you're looking at right now is free clip art that I spent weeks going through to try to find something that I could use that got the images out of my head so I could use to help get an artist, but tell the story. But also that's copyright free. So it took a long time to find these silhouettes and do stuff with them. And then to actually find the concept that I did, those first two poses you see, I was shocked because that's exactly how I saw the suit in my head. And I found the actual image of the suit that I really liked in my head online. And I just kind of doctored it up a little bit, tweaked it, and used it as promo art to kind of get the ball out there to kind of show you what this kind of. So this would be Alpha Man in the 80s and 90s. That's what his heyday was. So, and he's been missing since 2001. So this would be him in his heyday, I call it year one concept art. But
yeah. Do you have, I know you named a couple stories. Do you have any like favorite comic stories or even movies that maybe you didn't base this off of, but just that are like inspirational for you, maybe even in the future storytelling?
I mean, yeah, other than the other comics that I really like Daredevil comic books. Huge fan of Blade. Was one of the few kids who actually liked Blade, and everyone thought I was crazy as a kid. I thought it was interesting. Vampires. Vampire comic book might be in the mix there sometime down the road. I got a pretty cool vampire hunter slayer kind of story I want to do. But as far as like Marvel comic books, I mean, not Marvel, but just DC comic books or whatever, whoever, all the comic book movies, let's just play it that way. I'm a big fan of all of them, to be honest with you. Even the corny ones heavily influenced me with this story, as dark as it is. I think I want to say I'm hesitant to say it's got a little bit of BVS in there. I think it does kind of brush along the lines of like, you can be the hero 1 minute, but you do one thing wrong and the whole world flips on you and people are unsure of you. People are scared of you. It has that a little bit of the BVS in there. It might have a little bit of Man of Steel, maybe a little The Dark Knight Rises, Nolan in there. Not so much from the Marvel films, although I love them. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't say the inspiration for this comic book is more like it comes from multiple sources, not just comic books. Like the character of Dark Hero, I think if I was going to say it, he reminds me of the attitude that Cable has, in the comics.
Okay.
But mixed with Nick Nolte, which it's I haven't really seen it necessarily on film, but for me, I think pretty much Zack Snyder's kind of touch and feel on superhero movies is kind of where I feel as a creator where I would want to take future projects, kind of giving it still a little bit of the high look. It's from a comic book, but it's also grounded in reality. It kind of a little bit giving you a little bit of the two. For me, I'm thinking, okay, if I really just want to like live vicariously and feel upbeat, there's plenty of stories I can go watch and or read that have those uplifting, upbeat superheroes saving the whole world and everyone lives happily ever after and stuff like that. But I think what really changed for me was Man of Steel kind of made you start thinking about the humanity side of, like, for me,
I love Man of Steel.
For me, I got it. And a lot of people didn't understand it. And I was like, this Clark is like, how would you react to those kind of things? And I think that's where our hero comes into play too, is yeah, he's got all these super abilities, but he still went through stuff. Does it change you? Like, doing good, you meet people all through your life that, it's a tragedy. You see these, like Anakin Skywalker, for instance, he, fall from grace, so to speak. Those heroes' journeys, those arcs. I wanted to do that with a Superman type figure and kind of give a reason for humanity to turn on him a little bit. But I also just wanted to, I always sit in bed and think, like, are there times where, like, even Batman or Superman, like, how do they feel if they can't save somebody? That's got to be on your conscience, because you can't. Do you just let it go? I don't think so. What about the times where, like, you're getting bad press for, they're just giving you shit for how you handle things, and you see a mugging and you just float over it and you just look at it and you just watch those humans who are just arguing, these monkeys in clothes just running around. You're just thinking to yourself, why the fuck am I even going to try to save them? They don't even like me. They don't even, one day they like me, one day they don't. I've sacrificed everything for these people. They don't give a shit. And he just lets the person get mugged. I want to see that. I want to know why they would do that. I want to get into the head, because, not to steal from Lex Luthor, but if you're all powerful, can you really be all good?
Definitely sounds, just from you talking, sounds a lot like Zack Snyder. The Watchmen movie was one of the reasons, like, I got into reading comics in the first place.
Oh yeah.
Like, I just watched it and didn't really like it, and just thought about it for like a week and said, why don't I like that? Maybe it is good. And I watched it again. I was like, shit, this is really good. And then my mind kept going.
That gets a lot of shit. That movie, you find the people that love it or hate it. Is it comic book accurate? No. But it's pretty damn close.
It is close.
It brushes on a lot. Like, I think it's the same thing. When I saw Batman Begins in 2005 for the first time in the theaters, I was pissed. I was like, what the fuck is this? This is too real. This is too gritty. I didn't fully understand what Nolan was trying to do until The Dark Knight came out. So I think I had, like, that superhero fatigue. I was in that strange zone where Spider-Man was what I thought the epitome of a great Spider-Man and Superman, where that's what comic book movies were supposed to be, and maybe Tim Burton's Batman.
So we had just gotten the Shoemaker Batmans, and then Spider-Man, and then Batman Begins came out. It was really like a new wave.
Right, and
completely different.
I wasn't ready for it. I really wasn't.
I don't think anyone was.
I go back, and that's one of my favorite.
And now
definitely
all
one of my favorite
superhero movies are trying to be like that. It's funny.
Oh yeah, it is. But I wasn't quite ready for it. I remember being just disappointed. And my friend's like, "What's the?" I was like, "I didn't like it." I was like, "That's not the Batmobile. What the fuck is that?" And I'm like, "Oh, this is stupid." But then the more I looked at it, and I'm thinking, like, "Oh man, like, what if?" I never thought about it. I don't know why I never did, but I never thought about, like, well, okay, this is the closest to a what if scenario we could get if there was a Batman. So I fell in love with it again. I think in 2008, I fell in love with all that. I remembered all that. My love of comic books and all that stuff. It just got reinvigorated, I think, with The Dark Knight. And that wasn't necessarily a really good Batman movie, to be honest with you. It was a great crime thriller. But a lot like Infinity War, I think that was Heath Ledger's movie. It was the Joker's movie, and Batman was just in it.
Mm-hmm.
For me, at least.
Yeah, I mean that I could go on and on about The Dark Knight. I fucking love The Dark Knight. It's everything.
Oh, I love it too.
It's one of the few movies that can literally give me chills at the end of the movie every single time I watch it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. When I thought it was a brilliant way to end it, but I was a little disappointed because I didn't want the city to hate Batman.
I know.
I was pissed that it had to go down that way, and I would have loved to seen a little bit more of Harvey fleshed out.
Lee's just laughing at you because you can't hate Batman. They can't hate Batman.
Oh, you can't hate Batman.
You're muted, Lee.
Yeah, I know. There's some mowing going on
okay.
next door, and it's
Tell
really
him
loud.
to quit.
So-
The little kid's like, but he didn't do anything. I'm like, I know, dude. What the fuck? Can't you tell everybody, like, just leave the part out of it about Harvey going nuts. Like, nobody needs to know that. Like, only you three have the power to keep this shit alive. Like, you can't tell him, but he's no. And then I think in Rises, I think he tried his best to like button it up. And the thing about that movie is I'm never really gonna like it because I'm the kind of guy who doesn't like endings. Like, I won't watch the last episode of like a great season that I love because I don't want it to end. Like, I still haven't watched the last episode of The Sopranos because I'm like, no. If I haven't seen it, the show's still alive in my head. It's still going. I haven't seen the last episode, so for me, I'm like, I hate endings. It's always about the journey for me. Getting there is
that's so funny. That is so how I am. As soon as I know like the finality of it, I'm like, wow, was that really as good as I thought it was? I love when I just like. Yeah. That's why I love The Dark Knight because it's like not really an ending. It's just like, well, this fucking sucks. Now everyone hates Batman. I love that. I love that kind of ending.
No, it was good, but if they didn't plan on bringing it back and we were just left like that, I think I would have been a little sour. I mean, him coming back and fighting with the cops was pretty cool. Why we saw it in the daytime, I don't fucking know, but it would have been great to be at night. I think people give me a lot of shit, but I love Bane in The Dark Knight. Every time he's on, he scares the piss out of me for a little bit. Like, I love Tom Hardy. I think he did a good job. Always does a good job. Making like when Batman's getting his ass kicked down in the sewer, I'm like, all right, enough's enough, Bane. Jesus, like, how long are you gonna keep kicking his ass? He's obviously not gonna be able to take you. If you watch that movie back, you can see a lot of like little love letters to the previous films in there, which is really neat and really cool. So Nolan's not ever gonna do a really bad movie, but that one's probably the weakest out of the bunch. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, he did Tenet, so.
How did you feel about that film?
I didn't like Tenet at all.
Me neither.
Oh,
he's like, you didn't get it. I'm like, I got it.
No,
I just didn't like
I get it. No, I didn't like it at all.
High
We've talked about it
concept.
many times.
Oh, have you?
Well,
I just watched The Drunker talk about it today on YouTube.
What I said is it's just like the best concept ever with no emotion and no character at all.
Yeah. Basically,
it was almost like the actors were just there because he needed actors in his movie.
Yeah. It's kind of like
that's why I'm naming you protagonist.
I hated Dunkirk too.
Right.
Yeah.
Dunkirk though. Dunkirk got me.
No, not even
Dunkirk.
For a second. I did not like Dunkirk. Did you, Lee?
I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta go check out Dunkirk.
It's the
worth
same
one
thing.
time.
Like, I need a character. I need an emotion. It's like I've said to Lee.
You didn't feel for those kids, those young kids, and that French dude trying to act like an English dude.
Nope.
I felt dude. Nope. I felt the tension. I felt the ongoing surge of the Nazis closing in. I think. Do you understand? Like, I'm not kind of.
Do you understand?
Do you understand Dunkirk? Do you understand what the French did? Do you understand?
Yeah,
Like, I don't want to be that guy, but
to me, it's still
Yeah.
a movie. Like, I get the stakes. Obviously, that's fucking insane, but it's a movie. I need a character. It's like I compared Tenet to Inception. How Inception had Leo, the main character, and had like so much backstory, and like no one else really had it, but we had him to attach to the whole movie, and the whole movie revolved around him and his wife, which gave us emotion, a good character, a good backstory. Like it drove the whole movie. But like Dunkirk and Tenet had none of that.
No, you're exactly right, and I can kind of see if you Dunkirk and Tenet, you can see flashes of it in Inception. Because I'm not gonna like say Inception's phenomenal. For me, it kind of a dream within a dream kind of shit got to me. Like, okay, this is getting a little far fetched, a little out there. Does it look cool? Yes, but I think that his high concepts are catching up with him to a point where he's losing the human essence of those characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how I feel
storytelling.
in Tenet. Like there is no human essence in it, really. That's just how I feel. I mean, I know there's people that liked it, but it's not for me.
No.
Do you like Fincher at all? Fincher's like my favorite director.
Oh, David Fincher's one of my favorites. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, we seem to be on the same page on a lot of stuff, which is nice because Lee's never on the same page as me.
Dang it, Lee. Step your game up, bro.
He likes all stupid stuff.
Yeah, mainly just the stupid stuff.
Okay. Lee, what kind of things do you like, Lee?
I like to party.
I know you like to party.
And I like to disco.
He's a big fan of Jeff Lemire.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jeff Lemire is my favorite. I just finished rereading Royal City. It was such a great read.
Awesome.
But yeah, I'm really keen for your comic. I might have to back it now after listening to you talk about it.
Oh,
And I'm also really keen for your holiday movie. Is that you said that's paused because of COVID and everything going on, right?
COVID. There's travel restrictions going on. The lead character that I want, not the lead, but in the 1978 Halloween, he was the figure or the shape, but in my film, he's the figure. And the guy that's playing it is actually in Canada right now, and there's a little bit of a travel problem with that. But there's also we've been thinking about where we're gonna, location wise, the script is still being kind of moved around and stuff like that with outlines done. So that my goal and my dream is to hopefully have something tangibly rolling on that this summer, get the ball rolling, depending on how other things go.
Yeah, for sure.
It's definitely I want it to be my debut film. I think I wrote a pretty funny but also kind of like scary, like it's one of those don't reinvent the wheel kind of a film. But I think it's really going to be entertaining, and there's just not enough cool stuff happening on Thanksgiving. Definitely not a lot of
funny. I was surprised. Funny, that kind of surprises me.
Yeah, I mean, you got to sprinkle in a little dark humor. Like there's some dark humor in Dark Hero as well. Like he, like especially with the old version of like Ryan and his relationship. They're they're at odds. You'll find out real quick. Like if you look at that our first panel, it's one of the first things he says is "fuck." Like he's not. It's not
kind of guy.
He's not. It's not for kids necessarily, and it has dark themes. But with The Last Thanksgiving, it's got dark humor sprinkled in. We have a character named Oak. And he's everything you think he is. If you could just, what does the word oak bring to you? A guy coming to dinner with your daughter, and she's away at college, and she brings back a dude named Oak. Like you can only imagine how much he's not going to get along with the father, right? Okay. So
there's a few things that come into my mind with Oak. There's a chocolate milk down in Australia called Oak. That's the first thing.
No one cares about Australian chocolate, Lee.
And there's Professor Oak from Pokemon.
Oh, I didn't
Jesus.
even know that. I'm not a Pokemon guy.
Yeah.
I know that you have to catch them all. They keep saying that all the time, but I don't really like. How many are there?
That's all you need to know.
Most important thing, really.
So there's a little there's dark humor sprinkled in it. We got the final girl scenario shit going on. We have some really cool kills. It's pretty much straight. It's pretty straightforward. I'm not trying to do anything crazy and like, oh no, we gotta like double. I want to bring back the essence of good camera movement, not a wasted shot. No real. You don't need to have a fucking backstory necessarily. I think it's really cool to not know who this person is, why they're doing it, and really cool scenes that you can recreate, from past stories, but also with like a 90s feel. Like I even went and researched who was playing on Thanksgiving in 1997. I know, like, because there's a scene in there where like the killer turns on the fucking football game. So like, and I know who's playing. And so I wanted to make something that was pays homage, but also like harkens back to my childhood. I might even have like the little boy in it, flipping through Marvel cards in a scene or something like that in his bed or something like that. But yeah, you
said this is going to be a feature film debut, yeah?
Yeah.
Have you done anything else like before that, like any short films or anything?
I've done a handful of short films. I got a bigger resume when it comes to productions and working on productions, and like a production assistant or spec writer, or coming on as a PA, or just coming on like as an extra. I think I really got started when I was 8 as an actor. Back in California.
Oh.
So I have a few short films under my belt. Nothing spectacular. I've helped produce a couple films that have had Netflix releases. But as far as my debut as a feature, putting all my eggs in one basket kind of thing, that story just eluded me. It went through so many iterations. Like 15 years ago, I wanted to do a completely different story, so like I couldn't evolve as a writer without going through like just working on productions, working with, big ones, small ones, indies, $1 million budgets. I've been on all those kind of sets, and it really prepared me for like maturing my writing down to understanding when I'm writing on the page as a director. Like, I'm going to have to film this, so I have to get really creative and have to learn. I've had a lot of great mentors along the way, but I couldn't really pick a story that I fell in love with and I really loved. And I'm the kind of guy who, like, very rarely do I add a new movie to my repertoire of films that I watch on a daily or weekly or monthly basis. But John Carpenter, I always go back to John Carpenter films because there's something about him. His writing is just good. I don't want to say it's fantastic. It's just good enough. But his films, and he gets good actors, and he gets these good moments, and they're tangible, doable. Like, I think the first Halloween was done for $700,000, something like that. He reminds me that it's possible to have a good story, a decent story, high concept, and to pull it off yourself, and to scrimp and save and use camera tricks and use creative dialogue, and using the camera maybe as a tone setter for getting around special effects, or going back to kind of like the old days of filmmaking is, I love it. And I wanted to definitely do something like that for my first feature film, because the budget, I think our goal is to hopefully do it for the same. I want to challenge myself and say, okay, can I do it for the same money that he did in 1978? Which I think in $78, that would probably be now it like couple $1 million, maybe $4 or $5 million, $6 million. We're not going to have that, but thankfully my writing skills improved to where I can just get us in one location kind of, and just chop the budget, use it in appropriate spots to tell a good story, and still have that same effect that the original Halloween did, but do it on Thanksgiving.
Nice. I really like the low budget starter films like Robert Rodriguez.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What's that? El Mariachi. He did that.
El
that-
Mariachi was badass.
right? And he did that something like $7,000. It's
Oh, yeah.
insane. Absolutely insane. It's got guns and everything. It's like, so yeah, it's
Where there's a
definitely
will, there's a
possible.
way. Filmmaking. That's what I call it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's definitely possible. Like if you've got the will and the drive to get your product out. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it.
Big budget doesn't mean good movie either. Look at
Oh, hell no, it
the
doesn't.
Rise of Skywalker. Like
Yeah. My childhood will never be the same.
I'm glad you're in agreement.
I only knew one person, and we're not friends anymore, who actually liked The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. And now we're not friends anymore because of that. Like I used to bust his balls because of it. I was like, you don't understand how we fight. Like, you don't understand Luke. He's like, what do you mean I don't understand Luke? I'm like, well, fucking Luke wouldn't do that. Luke wouldn't send like I was like, you tried to tell me, okay, he spent all that time in the throne room, fought his father, chopped his hand off to try to turn him to the light side. But as soon as his nephew does it, after years of being a Jedi and knowing a lot more shit, he goes, fuck it, I gotta kill this fucker right now. No, he wouldn't. That negates his whole backstory. And I was like, no. And even before the movie came out, Mark Hamill was telling us, hey, you're not gonna like this. And I'm like, we didn't.
we didn't. I mean, there's a million things I could say, but the bottom line is The Force Awakens. I was so excited to go on from The Force Awakens because I seriously loved it. And then I felt like it was the biggest letdown ever.
Oh man! As soon as your mama joke came out, I went to walk out, and somebody put me back in my seat. I'm like, no, you're not going to stop me from this. I'm leaving. What the fuck did he just say? Did he just drop a your mama joke in Star Wars? What the fuck?
Did you like Force Awakens?
Oh, The Force Awakens. Oh, I thought we were talking about The Last Jedi. My
No.
Force Awakens. JJ. Okay. I had mixed feelings about it. I was a little. First off, I'm going to be honest with you guys. As soon as he sold the rights to Disney, I was like, oh, fuck, we're in trouble. I knew it then, we're screwed. But when I was like, okay, retread, here we go, fan service. I was a little optimistic because I was really curious about Rey. I'll be honest with you. So I wanted to see.
I wanted to
see why, when, how with Rey. I actually thought Finn, John Boyega, man, it's one of my favorites. I love that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So it was good to see him, but I was mixed emotions on it. The other two, no, and hell no. It's just no and hell no. Yeah, for me, I couldn't believe it, and I tried to explain to a friend the other day. And it's like, hey, go back and watch the other Star Wars movies and tell me one time that they mentioned fuel. I'll wait. And I said, the reason why that didn't matter is because George Lucas didn't make it matter in the universe. They just worked. Things just did things. That wasn't a plot device at all. So with The Last Jedi, you get all of a sudden we have all these problems that Star Wars never had. Well, then now you're going to say, okay, why didn't anybody always do the Holdo maneuver? Okay, are you shitting me? These laser cannons being fired in the vacuum of space that with no friction on them actually won't continue to go forever? That's not possible. So in reality, you can't keep a distance away from they're keeping a distance away from our blasters. No, that's light, you bitch. It's just going to go straight. And it's not going to curve. It's not going to move. It's not going to bend. It's going to go straight forever until something stops it. It's all those plot devices just to get them to a planet with a bunch of casinos on it. I don't understand. I really don't.
But we got that great moment with Rose.
Rose fucked it up, bro.
I hated it. I hated it.
I thought they had the balls. I'm like, they're gonna kill him. Let him down. That die hero. Hell no, she screwed it up. I couldn't believe it.
And then kissed him for what?
Right. And then in Jedi, oh my god. He's a Force ghost. Oh my god. Oh my
We should have
God.
just had you on to talk Star Wars.
Yeah, we'll just come back on.
You
We'll
should
do a
definitely-
Star Wars stream.
I did host a podcast for a few years, and when we got off on Star Wars rants, it was the high. They were the people just loved it. I was just watching the behind. I go back and watch the behind the scenes of Star Wars all the time, and I was just watching Phantom Menace, and I can't get enough of it. That whole I was asked a question a couple years ago: what film universe would you love to live in? And I was like, I want to live in the Star Wars universe for sure, definitely. If I could pick, what about you guys? Any film universe, what would you want to live in?
I would probably say Stuart Little because they always say little high, little ho, little hey, little ho, like when they come in the door.
Okay, that one threw me off. Lee?
I don't know. I think it would be cool to be like a SpongeBob character, like down in Bikini Bottom.
Eating Krabby Patties. Yeah, it might
Yeah.
be cool. I want to taste one, see what it's like.
Catching some jellyfish and shit, you know?
Yeah.
Could be cool.
I wouldn't mind like annoying Squidward for a while or going into business with Mr. Krabs, see if we can't open up a comic book store down there. That'd be funny.
Yep. Yeah, I love SpongeBob though. It's one of my favorite. One of my favorite.
Maybe Indiana Jones, if not Stuart Little.
Stuart Little for real? Is it because like you can play with your toys?
No.
You're the same size as your action figure, so it's kind of like you have a lot of friends now.
That's no mouse. That's my brother.
Oh Jesus!
I love that, Jeff. That's fucking perfect, dude.
Last night I sound up crazy, grumpy uncle plays praying on an angry man.
So good.
Have you guys heard the original story that JJ had for?
Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Yep. It's so much better.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yep. It made me really sad hearing it because we will never get it.
Nope. Instead, we got Darth Sidious again.
Oh my! And it was the clone.
Darth Ridiculous.
Did you hear that? That in the book, it's actually the clone of Darth Sidious. It's not even Darth Sidious.
Huh?
Yeah. So
hold on. First off, Star Wars. When did they start having to read a $80 book to understand your movie? If you have to release
I agree with that.
a book to explain your movie sucks.
Yeah. Well, anyways, there's the book that came out that explains it further, and I didn't read it, but they said it was the clone of Darth Sidious, not actually Darth Sidious, which makes it worse, actually, somehow.
It makes it a lot worse.
Yeah.
So she's the daughter of a clone Palpatine?
I don't know. I guess.
My head hurts now. Like I don't care. I've not watched The Mandalorian because of Star Wars.
You gotta watch Mandalorian.
Dude, so good.
It's good. Mandalorian's good. So me and my wife Lisa, we always rag on the end of the Rise of Skywalker. It's like, who are you? I'm Rey. Rey who? Rey Star Wars.
Right.
We literally
Rey
just
the
say that to
Force
each-
and only the Force.
Rey the Force. Like, what the fuck is happening? Rey fucking Skywalker.
Do you want to tell Jeff JJ's vision? Let him know.
What? Who, me?
Yeah.
I don't know. What him?
What was JJ's vision for?
Version? There's a lot. Can you remember any specifics?
Shit.
It's much.
It is so much.
Leia was way more involved, which that kind of sucks because of Carrie passing away.
Right.
So there
Pretty
was
much-
nothing they
right.
could do about that.
Luke was aware of all this shit going on. He knew that there was going to be a confrontation. He brought her to Octo on purpose. He actually trains her. There's a shit. They don't even talk about the Emperor. They just talk about
Yeah, no, they don't.
Kylo and I'm trying to remember the other bullet points. But you got me there when Luke wasn't giving up. You know, Luke was going back to to the light spot on Octo, and I guess Vader's castle is like the hot spot for the fucking dark side in Octo, or is that what the fucking planet's called? Fucking no. Anyway,
I don't
the
know.
water
Yeah.
planet, the water planet with the little fish people. The Jedi, that's the original Jedi temple. So like he was going there to prepare for this thing, and he was helping. Like the reason why Rey could be a Mary Sue flying around doing all this kind of shit is because he was Force robot controlling her. And that makes total sense to me in the Force. Like if you want to, okay, her just being a Mary Sue, this would clear it up. It would clear it up. It would be him using the power because he's right on that spot where the Force is just huge and you can amplify it. He was Force powering her to get through these things. That's why she could pilot the way that she could pilot. And that's why she didn't know how she could do things. She just, because he was guiding her. And I'm like, yes, that's how the fucking thing was supposed to do. So maybe JJ might have been onto something, Mr. MacGuffin Pants. But I think for me, I think that, those are the big main issues. I don't even think it says anything about her. I don't remember them saying anything about her being a Skywalker or anything like that.
No, it was she's daughter. In the original Force Awakens script.
They want okay.
Daisy Ridley said that.
I heard rumors about that.
Yeah. But then everything went down the drain.
Yeah, well,
It's like I had a kid while I was trying to watch another kid. Now I got to put my kid in hiding because I got responsibilities to guard Luke. He's a shit father. Like Obi-Wan is a shit dad. He should have raised her. I'm glad that didn't happen. I really don't. I would love him to fall in love, but Obi-Wan's the kind of guy who falls in love but realizes that like it's not the right thing to do. He always I feel like Obi-Wan's the kind of person who has a heavy heart, but he's always going to do what's best. He's kind of like, duty honor kind of guy. Like he doesn't want to kill Anakin. He's pissed about having to do it because if you think about that fight, they're pretty evenly matched for the most part, skill wise, but Anakin's just more powerful. But at the end, Anakin's power isn't what really, I think he could have killed Anakin if he really wanted to. He left him alive on purpose.
It was all about that higher ground, right?
I guess. I can't believe he wrote that. George, Jesus Christ. It's okay. He's like monotone and shit, but he has the high ground, so he can't kill you. Oh, okay, George. Whatever you say. Yeah. It makes sense to George. It makes sense to George. It does. It makes total sense to George.
I don't even care. Give me a little bad dialogue and give me a great, complete 3-part story over fucking Force Awakens bullshit after that,
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I'll take the prequels over that. People give me so much shit. But the prequels are more Star Wars than the new ones are.
Jar Jar.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Jar Jar's the key, to everything working. If you can get Jar Jar to work, because the kids, let's not forget, that's an actual direct quote from George Lucas, by the way. Funny thing about George Lucas is back in California, I grew up in Sacramento, and George Lucas went to I can't remember the name of the high school, but I dated a girl who went to school with George Lucas, went to high school with him. And he showed me like yearbooks and pictures of him and George, and taking George used to take pictures in high school, football teams and shit like that, sporting events and stuff like that. So he had a couple pictures. I was like, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, that is awesome.
But we're coming up to the end of the hour, so we'll probably start wrapping it up now. But everyone, we got the link down there in the description, and it's in the chat. Please go back. The Dark Hero on IndieGoGo. Is there anything last thing you want to say, Chris? Where can people find you and all that kind of stuff?
You guys can find me on Twitter. I'm not sure if my Twitter handle's popping up with my name or not. It's Chris_Hicks 1138 on Twitter. Dark Hero Comic Book on Twitter, and Dark Hero Comic Book also on Instagram if you want to check us out there. But yeah, check out, we got a lot of cool merch. I designed the shirt logo myself. It's actually, a number of people helped me design it, but it's actually very popular. People love it. So go check out our comic book. I hope you find something that you like, you want to help us reach our goal and to get funded so this series can actually become a reality. We got a ton of cool things in the works, some great people working to help bring this story to life. Two real cool writers coming in to help with dialogue, push the story forward. Our great artist, Jessica Ruby. You can also find her on Twitter as well. I think it's Ruby_arts or Ruby Arts. Don't quote me. I apologize. But join us on Twitter, and I'll leave a link for her if you want. But yes, please check us out, guys. Thank you. It's been a blast. I love talking about Star Wars. Love talking about movies with you guys.
Yeah, it's been super fun. Everyone go check out the IndieGoGo. Even if you're unsure if you want to back it, there's like a little mini trailer, teaser trailer on it that you need to watch. So go check that out on IndieGoGo too.
Definitely. And it helps if you could just share.
Yep.
Everything helps. We appreciate whatever you can do. Thank you so much, guys.
All right. Thanks heaps, Chris, for coming on. It was a
Oh,
good,
definitely.
good chat. Anything you want to say, Tyler, before we go?
Nope.
See you later, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.